we are here with an introduction of the Dragon Codex, and we are live. So we're gonna wait for people to join us, and then we will get started. So we are waiting for some people. And what we will do first is we're going to talk a little bit about our motivation, why we feel so passionate about sharing this dragon information. We are going to share how we got this information, what kind of happened in our lives to lead up to this point of where we want to offer this in an event. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to maybe share some facts about the dragons that many people have not heard before. And there's going to be a chance, of course, also for you to ask your questions in the chat. And if you have any questions about this event that we are not answering, then just put them in the chat and we will get to that later.
Indeed. The Dragon Codex is a long overarching codex that we're bringing through in this lifetime. And so we made a video back when we first connected in person in like
Months
October.
ago.
Yeah. And we talked about some of the same things, just similar topics, and it was a short introduction, but what we're setting up for this 2-night event is to really create a strong foundation for those who want to step into their dragon self, into the realm of really knowing and being in connection and communion with the dragons on a heart depth level. That's what we're opening this 2-night event for.
And so this is taking place, and you will have already seen the posts about it, on April 2nd and 3rd. So just like our previous event that we hosted around the Essenes and Melchizedek, and it's all kind of connected as well. We are doing, again, 2 nights in a row, 2 hours per night. And I'm going to dive into the different stuff that you can expect. But first, I want to share a little bit about my history with the dragons. And so why I'm here talking about them. So it kind of all began in 2017, which is 8 years ago now, where I was opening up again to all the spiritual stuff. And I was doing a guided meditation by somebody else, and it was all about Avalon. The theme was like a journey to Avalon. And I'm doing this meditation following the guidance of the lady that was doing the meditation, and suddenly I'm on the back of a dragon, and I'm like, well, that's not in the meditation. Why? What's happening? And this dragon is like, just go with the flow, go with whatever's happening. So I do this, and I'm like, well, okay. And then he introduces himself to me as my dragon guide. Then I was in a very crazy time of my life. I was in the middle of a big shift in my marriage and having to go through a whole lot of changes that were very scary at the time. And then another time, a few days later, like maybe 2 or 3 days later, I'm meditating because I'm trying to find solutions to the stuff that I'm dealing with, that I'm going through. And what's happening is that I have this feeling of somebody wrapping themselves around me, like how if I would put my hand on him, he can actually feel something applying pressure to him. And that's what I felt in this meditation. And I saw in my third eye dragon wings completely wrapping around me. And that's when I got the full introduction to my dragon guide. And that is something that I also describe in a story that I wrote that you will also receive when you go on this journey with us for 2 nights. So that kind of became my primary guide, and the guide that would teach me how to work with the Akashic records and time travel. So that's basically what happened with the dragon. And then I started seeing how I was doing this in all of these lifetimes where I had been a dragon commander, all kinds of stuff in different lifetimes. And then what happened is a few years later, I had a near-death experience, and that opened up a whole new layer to this dragon knowledge, where they took me to the realm of the golden dragons, the seraphim. And so if you've been watching my videos, you've been watching our stuff, you hear that I talk about the golden dragons, the seraphim. So I'm going to be diving into what all of that is basically. And based on what I was shown in this near-death experience, let me think. And I also started working with them in healing. They started showing me how to apply dragon healing to clients in sessions. And so I wrote a whole story about their Akashic records, their history, and that's where I am right now with the dragons. So yeah.
And mine was somewhat of like a slow introduction, I think. I first was like really introduced to them through the Sophia Code, the book by 𝗘𝙗𝙡, and I just had the experience of whatever was in that book. It wasn't anything outside of what was in the book, and so I kind of had this introduction. I knew that these beings existed. I knew that obviously I knew they existed in mythology and lore and all of our memory and imagination, and so it took me a while to, a few years after reading the Sophia Code to actually get reconnected back with the dragons again. And I think I felt this, like, I just didn't feel worthy of that connection. And at the same time, I didn't really find any outlets or have any resources of people or channels or mediums that were going in depth about dragons and about their history and what they are and how to connect with them. And so I ended up actually connecting with them by just making these like AI images through ChatGPT, and I started making these different dragons, and they were coming through and they were activating all of this memory within me, this memory that I hadn't really experienced before. And so this was probably the beginning of last year or so. And so I was still kind of like, I was working with the dragon consciousness, but I still had this kind of sense of separation around them. And once I met Debra and I heard her talking about dragons, all the pieces immediately started clicking into place, and I started realizing like how I had been working with dragons and I just didn't realize it, and kind of the distortions and the misconceptions I had around them. And so one of my big reasons for, stepping into this, my why, is because I didn't really have any outlets or information going in depth around the dragons and how to connect with them and how to kind of expand my relationship with them. And so I think there are so many people who are starting to open up to this relationship again, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be at this kind of glamorized level of ascension consciousness in order to work with the dragons. It just means that you're being reconnected with the foundation of who you are, and you're being brought further into your body. And so this idea of worthiness and inferiority and kind of separating ourselves from the dragons, that's really my why in this, because we are completely equal and we are completely connected. And I think if I would have felt and received this more throughout my process, I would have been able to kind of release that maybe a little bit quicker.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's definitely because there's not that much accurate information accessible about the dragons, what they actually are. And I also have a free dragon lessons playlist on my YouTube where I share some just real quick videos on how you can start connecting with the dragon. Because it's like Ryan just said, everyone has their own unique connection with the dragons. And it is not going to be one way, and that's the way for everyone. every dragon has a very specific mission with you, a specific contract, what they are coming here to do with you. So it's going to look completely different for you. It's going to look completely different for your neighbor, for your sister, but a lot of people have dragon guides. So what can you expect on those 2 nights? I'm going to share with you what I'm going to be talking about. So on night 1, I'm also looking at my notes in case you're wondering. I'm going to be diving into a lecture that I have given in another dragon webinar with other clients that I've already worked with the dragons with. And it's all going to be about the dragon and the nature of time, the multiverse, the dragon and the Akashic records, angelology, the angelic hierarchy, where do the dragons fit in from a quantum non-linear perspective, and how this is all connected to this dragon consciousness. What is dragon consciousness? And that is going to be all of night 1 for me. And so the dragons and angels are basically one and the same consciousness on a certain level. And we will dive deeper into how all of that happened, where there became this separation is not the right word, where they divided themselves into different forms of experience, so that a dragon and a human can perfectly have the same consciousness in different forms. So we're going to dive into all that stuff. And what does that look like? I'm going to be talking about the inversion of dragon truth. So what has happened when you look at Catholicism, for instance? So we're going to look at how they portray the dragon versus how is the dragon portrayed in the East. It's completely different. We're also going to be channeling dragons on night 1 and night 2. But on night 2, I have something special also in store for you. So I'm going to be taking you through a guided journey to the Dragon Cave. And this is basically sort of a light hypnosis meditation journey, a group meditation where we're going to be going and meeting our primary dragon guide in the Dragon Cave. And this is a journey that I have done one-on-one with people that have taken my Dragon Codes mentorship, which is a bundle that I've done with people individually, but we're going to be doing this in group, this hypnosis journey basically. And when you hear hypnosis, don't panic. It's basically just a very deep, relaxing meditation where you get to have a meeting with your dragon. If you already know your dragon, then it's going to be just reconnecting. It's going to just be fun. If you don't know your dragon yet, this will definitely be an opening and an activation for you. What I'm also going to be doing on night 2 is diving deeper into this dragon history, the Akashic records, and also the Atlantean dragon knighthood. I have posted about this on my Instagram, on my Substack blog, so some of you may already be familiar with that name. So on night 2, I'm going to be elaborating, giving more details about what that is. Basically, I'm going to be talking about this galactic dragon call to come to Earth, the dragons on planet Earth, in Lemuria, in Atlantis, in the Middle Ages, and basically also this inverted dragon history in the Middle Ages, how it's connected to Christianity. So all of that is going to be coming up. Yep.
The main thing that's present for me right now is the emphasis on like our animalistic essence and our animalistic nature, and that stepping into working with the dragons, we can think of it as this like very we like to go up. We like to think of God as up, heaven as up, these other ascended beings as up out here, and we think that we need to be in a state in order to kind of this ascended, glamorized state in order to even be worthy of connecting with these beings, or even know how to connect with them, or be capable enough of connecting with them. But the reason why we always talk about how the dragons require deeper embodiment is because you're going deeper into your body. You're going deeper into your animalistic essence. And we've separated ourselves from the concept of animals, from humans being at the higher part of this food chain, and any animals in these other types of forms are below us. And as I continued to receive more complex information and kind of make my way up the dimensional levels, I kept finding that everything just led back to this animalistic essence. And animalistic not meaning this unintelligent kind of barbaric way of living, but our true embodied essence of what it means to be without thought and without a narrative of fear and of identity and of ego and of control. And so this is so important to recognize when you're thinking about stepping into this space, because all it is doing is taking you deeper into your body. It's taking you deeper into this primal form, which is perceived as the dragon, because it is the most primal aspect of form that you can exist in when you're first coming into this hologram, this matrix. And so this is really about reconnecting with the roots of your primal self, your primal aspect of your identity, and learning to make yourself equal again with these kind of energies that we've taken ourselves below.
Mm-hmm. And that is, like, I love how you say something and then it sparks something that I did not write down. But basically what the dragon does, it is a beam of light that connects all dimensions, all levels of existence where you are existing in. So all of the dimensions, the earth dimensions, the elemental dimensions, the human experiences across all time, space, reality, the angelic experiences, all the way up to source energy is the beam, is the spiral that is basically the dragon. So we're going to be diving into all of that. And it's going to force you to be grounded, to be embodied, to be in your body if you actually want to fully anchor in the highest forms of source energy. So if you already want to start learning about this before you do the live stream, you can already go to my shop on my website, and there is the story that I wrote called Angels and Dragons and Other Things, but this is going to be included for free in the live stream. So if you sign up, you are getting this story anyway. So I want to now kind of share how I got all of this information, that I've been collecting over the past 8 years. So like I said, it started with my dragon introducing himself to me in meditations, then showing me how to work with the Akashic records, showing me how to use this dragon healing. And I had taken angel healing. I'm certified in angel healing, but the dragons were like, yes, that's nice. That's a good foundation. Now we're going to turn that into dragon healing. So your dragon has like a unique way how they can show you how to like fine-tune your soul mission. And that's what they are all about. Their highest form, the seraphim, they're all about your soul mission, the passion, the fire that is burning in your soul. And they're going to show you what is ready to basically be released and what is ready to be lit up so that you can basically become the best version of yourself. So yeah, working with my own dragon guides, but like also doing hundreds at this point of Akashic Records readings since 2018, where I kept on seeing dragons and all the different ways that dragons were a part of history, and different channeling sessions, hypnosis sessions with clients where I kept seeing the same stories coming back that I had never heard anywhere else. So yeah, that is basically where I'm getting my information. And why I'm doing this, why we are doing this, is because many people, even in the New Age community, don't fully comprehend what the dragon consciousness truly is. Most of them talk about it in the sense of, okay, elemental dragons, how to work with your dragon spirit guide, all these things. But I feel that that does not really do service to the full aspect of the dragon that is ready to start working with you in its highest form, and they are becoming more and more accessible to us because we're in this whole ascension process. So yeah, this is probably not going to be for everyone that's on a spiritual journey, but if you're still watching right now, then there is a big chance that you are being brought here by your dragon, and they are letting you know, hey, you are ready to fully connect with me on the highest level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're going to go into the depth of this, but how it's connected to this animalistic nature as well, and how the whole language and narrative around reptilians and around draconians and around shapeshifters, and like she said, this agenda to skew the perception of dragons, it's all cutting us off from the fullest level of our consciousness, which is that dragon self. And so there's this reconnecting that's happening as we're going down further into the reptilian brain. We're building our roots and rewatering and recreating this root system so that we may expand outwards in a space of health and a space of balance, and not take on a artificial dragon archetype or get confused around the kind of distortion and confusion that's been created there. So if you're feeling subconscious resistance, any fear or kind of hesitation around doing something like this, it's the same thing as always. Just check in with your intuition. Sometimes it might be pointing you to pushing through that resistance and facing something that you really need to face. And so a lot of times that's kind of where people get caught up when they think about working with dragons. It's immediately going to already illuminate these trigger spots in these areas where they've maybe been ignoring or holding blind spots. So that could create this feeling of, oh, well, it might just not be good for me. But in reality, it is what's in their highest alignment. So just feel into the depth of the intuition and understand that this is a call to your highest self. This is a call to your dragon self, and that does require you to face things head on, to take a stronger stance, and to really just plant your flag and say, I am here and I am willing.
And again, the whole reptilian thing, I do talk about that a lot with my clients when I do this dragon work. So that is something that's definitely gonna come up and is very connected also to this Atlantean dragon knighthood and this medieval deception that took place, and how this fake consciousness was basically implanted in the actual dragon consciousness, and this program is still subconsciously influencing a lot of people. And there are also things such as fake dragons, or let's call them negative dragons, and I don't even like calling them dragons. They're just like reptilian beings that are masquerading as celestial dragons basically. And those somehow got all mixed up in there, which now creates subconscious confusion for a lot of people, and kind of this resistance to wanting to work with them. Because I remember in 2017, I was not thinking of, I'm going to be working with dragons. I was all into the angels. All my life I've been into working with angels, channeling angels. Suddenly these dragons are coming to me. And now, 8 years later, I'm the Dragon Witch. So, yeah, that's kind of what I was going to share. That's kind of all I had to share. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. Let me see if anyone said anything while we were talking. Not here. But yeah.
Someone comment on dragon experiences connected to Avalon. that's where a lot of this connects back into, is Avalon. The strongest experiences I've had with dragons has always been on the land in Avalon/Glastonbury. Why are they so prevalent in Avalon?
That is definitely something that I'm going to be diving into as well, with the connection to the Middle Ages, to early Christianity. And for those that were present for our Essene, the Melchizedek and the Essenes live stream, or that have watched the replay, I kind of started talking about it there, how there was this whole thing that happened where the Christ energy is very strong in that area, and therefore the dragon energy is also very strong. And the details about that are very layered. So that is definitely going to be coming up during our Dragon Codex.
And it's going to be similar. The Melchizedek and the Essenes live stream we did too is a big piece that connects in with this as well, and kind of the way we broke down the fall of these different families, like she's saying, and the different kind of Christed royal lines. All that's intertwining and connected into this. And so it's the Avalon is it's the kind of the core of what we see as this dragon consciousness in one aspect of it. It's the fairies and the like the kind of the King Arthur archetype is what I think of around.
And I think that's what most people think of when they think of dragons. And we're gonna all bring it together with the angelic realms, dragons in Atlantis, dragons in Lemuria, dragons now. How are they here now? So that's what we're gonna be doing. So I would recommend, if you feel this pull, and even though it doesn't have to make sense, it doesn't have to be logical, you may have no experience with dragons, yet you find yourself now still watching, then maybe there is something there for you. And keep in mind, dragons are not necessarily the way that you think they are. Like, their energy is not the program that we have learned while growing up. And I see tons of healers, teachers, people working with children, people that own dentist practices, doctors. They all have dragon guides. I've seen them being guided by the dragons, basically. And yeah, if you are also curious, in that Essenes and Melchizedek live stream, which is now available as a replay, that would be definitely a good foundation if you want to get an even bigger picture. But yeah, we would love to see you on April 2nd and 3rd, where we are going to be diving deeper and in detail into all the stuff that we kind of introduced today.
And that Melchizedek and Essenes replay is on the goldendragontemple.com, where you can also find the details to sign up for this Dragon Codex live stream.
Yes.
And just again, remember this is just the introduction that we're starting with, not just this live stream, but the live event of the Dragon Codex. That's our first step into this kind of whole dragon system that is unearthing itself, because we're all finally ready. We're all finally ready to be at this vibration to reckon with all of these different things that are coming up.
Yes, so if you're watching this on replay, or you just kind of want to let it all integrate and you have questions, put them in the comments so that we can take all of that stuff with us when we do the live stream event.
Just making sure there aren't any leftover questions. Someone trying me on the connect with, yeah. All right. Well, all that sounds good. Well, we're excited to hopefully see you at the Dragon Codex.
Yes,
and just
we are excited.
Comment or shoot us a DM if you have any questions about anything.
Okay, then that is it.
We love you.
Bye.